going slightly mad. I'm going slightly mad.
You want to do it? Okay. Please like and subscribe. Okay, so how are you, Aloysius? You're good? You're good? You're glad 2020 is over? I think a lot of people are glad 2020 is finally over. We can say bye-bye to 2020. So, what are your plans for 2021? Because now is the time of year when a lot of people make new plans for what they're going to do in the new year. Yes, I'm not making this up. It's called a New Year's resolution. After the year we've had, I'm not sure I want to do that. Well, I know, but you can still make certain plans. You can still decide that you would like to do some things. What would you like to do, Aloysius, in the new year? You'd like to get your book written. I'd like to get my book written too. So that's something we can resolve to do in the new year. In fact, I think a lot of people might decide that they would like to get their books written in the new year. So, do you think that's a good resolution to have? Yes, but you don't know how to write your book. Well, is it that you don't know how to write your book or you don't know how to get started? Because those are two different things. If you don't know how to write your book, then one of the best things that you could do is sign up for a creative writing course like Black Cockie Press sells. Yes, they sell a whole course designed to get you a short story written and a whole other course designed to get you a novel, the first draft of a novel written. Tell you more? Yes, I will tell you more. Well, they're written by the founder of Black Cockie Press, who has 18 years of teaching experience, a master's in writing, and has created them especially for online lessons. You're not getting a different approach from what it would normally be. The whole thing is designed for online, so you can do it when best suits you. That sounds really good. Yes, it does sound really good. And you know what else? It's not designed like a kiddie course. You're not going to feel like you're back at school, because the whole thing is designed to help your writing develop, not to go and do some niminy-piminy little activities. Nobody likes doing those little activities that make them feel like they're a kid at school and that they're going to get it wrong. There isn't any getting it wrong. But what there is, I think there are a few activities in the short story writing class, but that's because that's more an entry level, and it's trying to get you to think about writing in a particular way. But the novel writing course is entirely built around you writing your novel over a period of time. So it's written for an adult audience. What you do get is feedback from a professional writer and editor. Yes, I have never ever seen another course that offers that. No other course offers you feedback on your drafts if you're doing the short story course, or, and this one's really good, a full hour mentoring session to talk about the novel that you're writing. Yeah, I know. And what's more, they're giving $50 from every sale to the New South Wales RFS over summer. Yeah, I know. Sounds good, doesn't it? So that's what you can do if you've never written at all. If you've never written at all, that is a really good place to start, because it will help you with the things that we're going to talk about next, which are things to help you get back into writing. Because I'm a bit like you, Aloysius. Yeah, I know you got a bit disrailed in 2020 with your writing. I just got really, really busy. I got so busy with my other work that I just had no time to do any of my writing, which became very frustrating. Fortunately, I could make these little videos, and that gave me a creative outlet, but still, it was very frustrating because I have a whole book in my head. There's a whole book in my head. It really has to get out onto the computer. So, if you have a whole book in your head that you really need to get out on paper, and you're having trouble doing that, there are some things that you can do. Yes, I'm going to tell you. Okay, so one of the things you have to do is develop a routine. You need to develop a time and space to write. Now, I know a lot of women find this very hard to do because they feel that they're being very selfish by taking this time and space for themselves. I promise you, you're not. You're doing something that will make the lives of everyone around you better because you won't be a frustrated writer. Okay? So you have my permission, if you need it, to be a writer and to call yourself a writer and to take the time that you need to do your writing. So you need to get yourself permission. Now, we don't live with people, so we can come up with whatever routine we want. But people who live with people, it's probably a good idea to get the other people in your household on board so that they know, don't disturb me at this time because this is my writing time. And generally people will respect that. Just don't make it a time when you know that other people are going to be wanting you. You know, you don't want your writing time to be just before you would normally make dinner. It's going to become a bit difficult. But try and find a time where people aren't going to disturb you and you are going to have enough energy. That's the other big one. If you're a morning person, you may want to get up early in the morning. If you're a night owl, you may want to stay up later. But it really doesn't matter when it is, so long as you're consistent, because what you're trying to do is coax out your writerly self. And your writerly self likes that level of consistency. Your writerly self can't do anything but write. So they're a bit useless for everything else. But they do like consistency and they will creep out. Yes, they're a bit like a nocturnal animal, but not necessarily nocturnal. They will creep out. You have to tame it with like, you know, like if you've got a stray cat and you start feeding it and eventually it lets you pat it and you can bring it inside and it doesn't piss on the carpet. That's what you're doing with your writerly self. Yes, it is that badly behaved. Can't be helped. Okay, so you want to create a routine. The other thing you want to do is use your time to get into what is called flow. Flow is a state of enormous concentration and enormous focus, but it feels effortless. It's sort of a meditative state, but you can get into flow state doing anything. Anything where you can just be single-mindedly focused, which is why a routine and why no distractions are a good thing. It's what inspiration feels like. But what you can do with flow, when you understand it as not inspiration, but actual flow, which is a process that you can enter voluntarily, then you don't have to sit there and wait for inspiration to strike. You can actually access it, that time, on cue. Okay, so you're wanting to access it on cue. You may be writing every day, you may not be writing every day. Personally, you know what I find I like? I go for a walk and I have my headphones on and I listen to very particular music that I've put together a playlist that's specially for the book that I'm writing because it helps me get into the right mode. And then I'll go for a walk for maybe an hour and I won't go for a walk to think about it, but I'll go for a walk and things will come into my head and I'll arrange them and it will just happen. It's a sort of a meditative state. And I will then, sometimes I will come straight home and write. Other times because the parts didn't fit exactly in where I was wanting to write, I'll keep them and I might work on something else. But I will walk out my story before I write it. So if I'm writing very early in the morning, which sometimes I've done, I will have done the walking ahead of time, and so I have the material to work on. You don't have to do it immediately, but coming up with something where you can, a time and a space to yourself where you can mentally work on your book is really helpful. That's another thing that you can do that's part of the writing process. So you can do these things to help you get started. Another thing you can use is a bullet journal. There is a bullet journal video somewhere on the channel. I'll put a link down somewhere. But bullet journals or corkboard plotting can help you with it because it can help you do your research, can help you work out where your plots are going. So if you've gone for a long walk and you've got an idea that you can't use immediately, you can put it into your journal, and so that you don't lose it and forget it. Or if you've got an idea that needs some more research, you can put it into your journal and then add the research. If you need any help with your research, there's also writing templates from Black Cockie Press that really help, and there will be more of those coming in the new year. So just think about those, and they're really, really cheap. Really cheap. So those are some things that you can think about if you are wanting to get back into your writing. Okay, the other thing is be nice to yourself. You don't need to write 5,000 words in a day. It's a good idea to have a set amount that you are willing to write. There's no rules about how much it should be, but you should know sort of what is your limit, where you hit, and then you start getting distracted and you don't be writing so well. For me, I'm writing, because you don't write all day. Nobody has an all-day writing session. I mean, some people might, but not most people. They don't write all day. They spend a lot of time reading and thinking, and that's really important too. Do not discredit reading and thinking and watching films to help trigger ideas. That is also part of the writing process. So if you write every day, great. If you write a couple of times a week, great. Your book is moving forward, okay? So I write between 500 and 1,000 words at a time, and I write for between an hour to 2 hours at a time. If I push beyond that, I find that I end up deleting what I wrote at that latter part anyway, so it's not really worth me doing it. So, and there are actually some lists on the internet that you can find that show actual famous writers and how much they wrote. Most writers write under 5,000 words a day, and some write as few as 500. So really don't feel bad if you don't write a lot. Quality, not quantity. If you're writing a first draft, just getting anything on the page is good. Yeah. Because you can always edit. You can edit writing. You can't edit a blank page. You can rewrite writing. You can't rewrite a blank page. If it's literally first draft, just get it on the page. That's important. But you want to accept what your writing length is. If you are a 500 a day person, be a 500 a day person and have it move forward at that pace. Don't think that you should be writing more. You are writing what you can write. You are writing what you can manage. That's it. Don't be hard on yourself. Writing 500 words a day is better than writing 0 words because you think you should write more. Absolutely. What else? Is there anything else you should have? Remember, time that is uninterrupted. You should develop a level of ritual. Smell is very good with ritual. So if you have scented candle, or if you use an oil vaporizer or one of those stick thingies that have like scent and things, and keep that in your writing space, and that can really help trigger. Smell is really, really good at triggering mental, locking into mental space. it can really, really help. What you find is as you continue to write, you find you need the ritual a lot less to jump into flow. But initially, it can be really helpful to help you jump into flow. You need to develop some sort of way of time and space to think. Time and space to think, to write, to read, to watch films, to listen to music, things to help you trigger what you're doing. Walking is really good. Anything where you don't have to focus on what you're doing, but you can focus on something else is always really good when it comes to writing. And don't be hard on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. You are allowed to write the amount that you write. You don't have to compete with anyone else. That's a really good thing about writing. It's not competitive. It's not competitive at all, not at this point. Okay, selling books is competitive. Yes, you're right. Selling books is competitive, but writing, no. There is no writing races. You don't have to write. I mean, you can do a writing race, but I don't know why you would put that sort of pressure on yourself. Sounds rather hellish. And there will, and this is the other thing, remember, there will be times when your life is too busy to write, too busy to do anything, and you know what? That's all right too. We might intend to do something, but life gets in the way. So long as you remember how you do it and can get yourself back into the flow, whatever derailed you for a while will be past. It won't derail it forever. You just breathe, relax, unwind, come back to it. It's always there for you. Yes, it's like laundry. Laundry will always be there for you. So will writing. Even if you think that you haven't done it for ages and you'll never get an idea again, you will. Sometimes you might need novelty. Sometimes you might need a bit of a kick up the butt. Sometimes you realize that the reason why you can't write something is your skill level isn't right, which is why you go and buy a creative writing course from Black Cockie Press. But sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes you might need a mentoring session, or you might need someone to read over what you've already written to get you back in the groove. Whatever it is, writing will always be there for you. You just have to make time for it. And that's the biggest thing. Make time for it and be forgiving of yourself. So I wish everybody a happy new year. Goodbye to 2020. Hello to 2021. And I hope everybody has a wonderful 2021. And I'll see you in the new year. De volka finger, ich bin ja, ich muss mit eins, Bye bye.